Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. It's just like old times. It's just like we've traveled back in time to a date prior to August 16th, 2023, when I was firmly in my lovely cabin in the woods out here in the greater Danbury area, before I'd gone off traipsing all over the country with Profanatica playing black metal for the masses. Yes, it is almost as if nothing has ever changed. So I'm going to drop all pretense and reveal the man behind the flyer. You guessed it, after all this time, it's me, Malcolm Tent, bringing you this week's episode of Tent Talks Tunes. Yes, indeed, my friends. The show that is occasionally interrupted but never really ends, because this is what I do. This is my life. Oh, look at all those thumbs ups and hearts and loves, and my man Alan Versapellis saying welcome back. Thank you. It is good to be back. Very good to be back with a jug of Danbury Tap that I hoist and drink to all of you who are tuned in right now. Whether you are watching live on Facebook, as happens every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, or you're catching the rerun on Facebook, or on my fabulous YouTube channel, which I've got a blurb for around here somewhere. Oh yeah, my YouTube channel. There it is. I'm a little bit rusty on some of the details. It's been a while here. It's been 6 weeks almost since I was able to do Tent Talks Tunes live, and it's been an action-packed, jam-bustin' 6 weeks for yours truly. I'm a guy who's no good at being idle. I'm very fond of saying that I have not been bored since 1986. But even by my standards, the last 6 weeks have been pretty hectic. Pretty hectic. And we'll be talking about a lot of that as this episode progresses. I'm going to squint over here with my dollar store readers. Hello, Chad. Yep, thanks for tuning in. Tony, good to see you. And various other people whose names I can't see because they don't appear on the monitor. What are you going to do? It's the modern era, man. We're at the mercy of digital technology. It is not really the be-all, the end-all, and the know-all. You can only see what you can see. So I know that you guys are tuned in, and I will drink to you again. Might as well cut to the chase and check the bulletin board and check the mailbox, and then I'll tell you quite a bit about the most recent tour I was on, which was quite the adventure. Oh boy, it was quite the adventure. Well, let's see what's going on the calendar. Once again, as always, I'm going to try to go in strict chronological order here. I can't guarantee that I will, but, you know, it's the thought that counts. And I think that the next thing I've got coming up, this is great for all you Connecticut people, the Connecticut Punk Rock Flea Market is happening this Sunday. I'm speaking these words to you live on Wednesday, August 16th. On Sunday, August whatever date that is, the 20th. August 20th. Yes, at the Bethlehem Fairgrounds in Connecticut, I will be participating in the Punk Rock Epic Flea Market. It's an outdoor event. There will be tons and tons and tons of vendors and other added attractions. I myself will be under a 10 by 10 tent. Tent will be under a 10 by 10 tent. I will have a couple of tables loaded to the breaking point with classy new and used vinyl, cassettes, CDs, TPOS product, and maybe a few other knickknacks and gewgaws if I can scrape them up and throw them on the table, and if there's enough room on the table. So I will be loaded for Punk Rock Bear, this Sunday, August 20th, at the Bethlehem Fairgrounds, the Punk Rock Flea Market. The last couple that they had outdoors were absolutely nuts. The most recent outdoor one was actually shut down by the Popo. That's how the Punk Rock Flea Market was. The cops shut it down because there was so much traffic going into the outdoor venue that the entire state highway was blocked and traffic couldn't get through. So they had to shut the damn thing down. What does that tell you? That's pretty big. That's pretty massive. That's pretty punk rock. So come on out this Sunday to the Bethlehem Fairgrounds. And hang out with me. If you think I'm funny and amusing and a laugh a minute here on the internet, you should just be with me in person. You wouldn't believe it. Guarantee you're not going to believe it. Let's see, who's in here? Hey, Bruiser Braswell from Hickory, North Carolina. Murray Gelman from Tucson, Arizona. Good to see you guys. Thanks for tuning in and making yourselves known. All right, what else is coming up in the immediate or at least semi-immediate future? I do believe that after this week's Punk Rock Flea Market, the next thing we got coming up is, yes, I was right, September 22nd and 23rd, my birthday weekend at the Beachland Ballroom in Cleveland, Ohio. It's the annual devotional Devo fan gathering. Imagine, if you will, a great big room crammed to the gills with all sorts of Devo freaks and geeks. We were doing cosplay before that was even a word. Yes, I've been known to appear on stage wearing an energy dome or the 3D glasses and a radiation suit. I don't care. I love Devo, and I'll walk around looking like that all weekend long with my fellow devotees. So yeah, cool event. Tons and tons of bands playing. Special guest DJ Lance Rock from Yo Gabba Gabba. Other special guests TBA. I will be there. September 22nd, September 23rd. Beachland Ballroom, Cleveland, Ohio. I got the word from on high that tickets are selling very rapidly and the possibility of a sellout is quite real. So don't snooze on this one if you want to get in touch with your inner devolved self. Don't delay. Devolve today. Get your ticket. Don't regret it. Speaking of devolved action figures, we got Sophia tuned in from either York, Pennsylvania or Kent, Ohio. I don't know where you are right now, Sophia, but welcome aboard. Good to have you. You heard about Devotional. Let's see what else is happening. Well, the weekend after that, September 30th, at the Ground Zero in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Yep. I'll even show you a nice up-close personal piece of propaganda. The Antiseen 40th anniversary show is happening at our home away from home, the Ground Zero in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Now, part of the insanely ridiculous schedule that I was just getting off of involved being in Charlotte, North Carolina for a couple of days to rehearse with the boys from Brutalsville, the almighty Antiseen, in preparation for the 40th anniversary show. I'm not going to reveal any surprises, but I will tease a couple of things. Basically, what's happening is the lucky attendees who are at that concert will hear Antiseen's Top 40. You will hear Antiseen's 40 top tunes played live, not only by the current lineup featuring me. See, there we are on the flyer, the Ultra lineup featuring yours truly. Not only the current Ultra lineup, but also representatives from several past lineups will be in attendance and playing songs from their era of the band. And we had 2 days of rehearsals for this, and the second day is when some of the, dare I say, the older members of the band came down. And I got to be a fanboy for a little while, and I got to watch 3 different past lineups of Antiseen run through their songs that they're going to play. And I was marking out, man. Goosebump City the whole way. I mean, because that's how I got into this whole Antiseen racket, was just by being first a fan, and then a business associate, and now an actual member of the band. From fan to friend to associate to full-fledged member. It's really cool because I've been to quite a few of the Antiseen anniversary gigs in the past. I was at the 10th, I was at the 30th, I was at the 35th. And I always wanted to be on stage. You know, I always wanted to be on stage, slinging the hash with those guys. And now for the 40th, Lord willing and the creeks don't rise, I will be. So September 30th, Ground Zero. Go to the Antiseen Facebook page or to antiseen.com, and you can get details about lodging and ticket prices and all that. Once again, the word from on high is that tickets are selling pretty rapidly. It hasn't sold out yet, but we are working very hard to make sure that it does, because a 40th anniversary, that is literally a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So I recommend that you not miss it. We got all kinds of people tuning in. Chris Martin, hello, Chris. And Sophia says she will be in Kent in 2 days. Right on. Mazel tov to the people of Ohio and the people who have emigrated there. I love Ohio. Ohio is a really cool state. I like the people. I like the state. I'm very much looking forward to being there September 22nd and 23rd. So what else have we got? Oh, man, we got so much stuff. How about the Danbury? Well, all right, I said I was going to go in chrono order. How about this? The Counterweight Record Fair, hosted by the good people at Red Scroll Records. Now, this is going to be a gala record-selling event with a big room full of record dealers, myself included. And that is on October 8th. October 8th. At the Counterweight Brewing Company. What town is that in? They don't say what town it's in. It's, they're central Connecticut somewhere. Cheshire. Cheshire, Connecticut. October 8th. Come on down. Free admission, lots of dealers, food trucks. And I, of course, as usual, will be loaded with plenty of classy, new and used, rare and common vinyl cassettes and CDs. Don't worry, though. When it comes time for the Danbury Record and CD Expo, which is occurring on August, I should have the date memorized, August 21st, the Danbury Record CD and Expo, which I help co-promote. Don't worry. Even if I sell a ton of stuff at the Counterweight event, even if I sell a ton of stuff at the Punk Rock Flea, I will have a fresh ton of stuff for the Danbury Record and CD Expo because my inventory runs deep. I got a lot of records and a lot of tapes and a lot of CDs. So one of my jobs and my joys in life is to continually replenish my table stock with fresh new stuff that no one's ever seen before. Stuff that I personally pick to be on the table. All killer, no filler. I ain't got time for shite music. It's got to be good. So that's the lowest... Not even the lowest, that's actually the highest common denominator that I apply to the stuff that I bring to these events to sell. And you can write a check and cash it based on that. All right, that's the bulletin board. Let's check the mailbox, shall we? It has been, as I mentioned, quite a while since I checked the mailbox because I just haven't been in town. I've been gallivanting all over this great country of ours with Profanatica, playing the Thunder Lumba. The famous leather-clad Thunder Lumba, or Thunder Lumber, if you speak the president's English. So the mailbox, boy, the mailbox was jam-packed full of stuff when I got back home. And I'll race through it at a moderate clip, because we got a lot of territory to cover. And wait, did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that feeble cry? Did you hear that feeble cry? Oh, yeah, he's being kind of quiet and shy, but I think you guys know what's about to happen. He used to hate appearing on camera, but now it's kind of obligatory. I reach down and grab the big fat cat himself, the man of the hour, the man of the power, too sweet to be sour, Harry the cat. There's Harry, the yellow-eyed wonder. Hi, guys, everybody. There he is, our boy. The dude who steals the show from me. The guy who is even more of a camera hog than I am. The 1.5-eared wonder. The guy with 1.5 fangs. The dude himself. Harry the cat. Yes. We missed Harry. I missed Harry. Harry missed me. And now he's on camera saying hi to all you guys. Look at those blazing yellow eyes. Look at that 1.5 fangs sticking out of his gob. What a cutie. What a silly cat he is. Yeah, he's my little guy. Let's see how long he decides to stay parked on my lap while I do Tent Talks tunes. Yeah, he's the dude. I admit it, I'm honest. He's about the only reason anybody really tunes into Tent Talks tunes. He's the man. He's the man. I'm very happy to say that I had good neighbors looking after him while I was gone. When I got home, he was very happy. Definitely gained a couple of pounds. And quite the contented fellow. Let's get him up on camera some more. Oh, that's my guy. Yeah, he's my boy. Listen to that. Can you hear that? It's got the loudest purr ever. All right, you just sit there, guy, and I'm going to bedazzle with everybody with the contents of my mailbox. So what came in the mail? Well, there is a brand new release on TPOS number 245. The only documentation ever made of the Murder Junkies live with Jeff Clayton on vocals. Yes. This was recorded live at Marty's in Port Chester, New York in 2003. The recording sat in the TPOS vault for this entire time. I wrangled the deal with Jeff Clayton and Merle Allen to release it on CD, and now here it is. As is always the case with my first edition CDs, it is a limited edition of 100. Each one is hand-numbered by Jeff Clayton himself. Comes in a deluxe gatefold wallet. There are only 100 of them made. Jeff got 25, Merle got 25. They disposed of their copies within hours. I have the last 50. So if you want to get one of these numbered limited edition first issues of the Murder Junkies Live 2003, talk to me. They are officially now available directly from yours truly. I will doubtlessly have them listed on Discogs pretty soon. Check out my Discogs store, TPOS. And probably on eBay, but if you want to get them directly from me first, I'm here and I'm ready to deal. So that's a very exciting piece of news as the TPOS empire grows, sprawls, extends, and distends itself exponentially. On a similar note, I got a few care packages from my boss at Antiseen, Mr. Jeff Clayton. He kindly sent me some copies of releases on his label, Long-Haired Weirdo Records, which he's dedicated to exposing some great unheard, unknown, new, and vintage music, some of which was based in the glory days of the 1980s in North Carolina. Scott Savage's Streets Living Theater. This was originally a cassette-only release. It has been remastered and put on CD on his label. Same deal, limited edition of 100. I helped to design the graphics, the cover, and the inside. And it's a really cool piece of original late 70s, 80s regional rock. And there's a big Doors influence in here, which I think is really cool because I can count the number of bands actively influenced by the Doors on about one finger. And I would say that Scott Savage's Streets Living Theater are really about the only ones. They do it very well. There's also a CD reissue of their one and only, I think one and only, maybe I'm wrong, full-length studio album on Long-Haired Weirdo Records. Same deal, limited edition of 100. I don't think these are hand-numbered, but it is the first printing. They are limited. It's very cool. It's very cool. 60s garage rock and 60s regional music has always gotten a lot of attention. And the 70s have to a certain degree, but the 80s original, like non-punk, non-hardcore rock scene is pretty much underdocumented. So Jeff is doing a really good thing here by getting bands like Streets Living Theater out before the public eye for the first time in decades. Really cool stuff. And he also sent me a couple of copies of the brand new Callie Hellstrom, The Wolf Within CD on Long-Haired Weirdo Records. I believe this one is numbered. No, it's not numbered. Same deal, 100 made. And Callie does these really cool spoken soundscapes, these spoken word pieces over some very harrowing, deep, and brutal soundscapes. It's really cool stuff. If you like the avant-garde, if you like it dark, then I bet you're going to like this. So yeah, reach out to Jeff Clayton. He's got a Facebook page. I'm sure you can reach him through antiseen.com. If you want to get you some of this stuff, there's your means. Now, what else arrived in the mail? Well, I was kind of surprised to find this from my good pal Tony Arena. Is it Arena or Arena? Is it Arna? Is it Arena? It's A-R-E-N-A. Tony, you're watching right now. How do you pronounce your last name? Just for the sake of argument, I'm going to say Tony Arena. Because I'm from Florida, and that's the way we roll. I got a box from Tony in New York City. Tony is a person who I really enjoy running into at the various New York City record collecting events, such as the WFMU Record Fair, the Punk Rock Record Fair, just at random. Tony is an artist and a musician, and he sent me a box with a handwritten note. Sure do love those handwritten notes, with a piece of art on the back. Oh, I love real, honest-to-God pen and ink art. says, Dear Malcolm, I hope you will like these cassettes. There are 2 of my current band, the Pepper Kings, and 3 of mostly older demos and home recordings. Now, this is very exciting. And Tony says I was right. It is Arena. Tony Arena. Man, I love being right. How about this? Pepper Kings sticker, which will be going on my distro box pretty soon. And I opened this thing partially. Got to reach around old Fatso Harry here. And I'm going to get the 100,000 mile box cutter as opposed to the million mile scissors. We're going to carefully open the box and take a look at these things. Because as you've just seen already, I love physical media. I love the CDs. I love the cassettes. I love the vinyl. Music is, of course, what it's all about. But the artifacts are what make it doubly fun. Let's see what we got here on cassette. This is a live unboxing, guys. Well packed, Tony, I must say. Very well packed. It made the journey from New York City to my little cabin in the woods safely. All right, there we go. The Tony Auto Harp Home Tapes, Volume 3. There he is. That's a real cassette, people. Genuine cassette. Love cassettes. Cassettes are so cool. And there's another one. There's Volume 2. Do I detect some thematic consistency here? I think I do. And then we got... Ah, look at that. There's Volume 1. They're kind of like very subtle pieces to a very understated puzzle. Old home demos from the vaults and 2 by the Pepper Kings on cassette. Thank you, Tony, so very much. You know that I will be firing up my cassette player and listening to these ASAP. Awesome. All right, what else have we got here? Well, let's see here. Sophia, who is going to be in Kent, Ohio pretty soon, got a package from Sophia Swangle, and it's wonderful. It's got handwritten address. I might as well give you my address right now. Malcolm Tent, P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut. If you want to join the crowd, if you want to conform to the cool kids, if you want to have Harry the cat crawling all over me while I open up your mail, just send it to me, baby. P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut, 06470, and I will gratefully accept it and happily open it live on the air. So, once again, I have to kind of work around this impediment. I have to do my best to peacefully coexist with this guy. He makes it so difficult. We're going to open up this also well-packaged package from Sophia. I kind of know what this is. She sort of gave me a little bit of a warning. She said something about a new CD of original music. My ears, of course, perked up when I heard that. Just as it is when I open up a package from Tony Arena. If I know there's new original music inside, I get excited. I get all wound up. I start to mildly freak out. So I'm mildly freaking out now as I do a cold opening of this live on Tent Talks Tunes. Wednesday at 7 p.m. And there it is. Ah, yes. Sophia's new CD, hand-signed by the artist, as per my request. Thank you, Sophia. At the very core of my being, I am a fanboy. And oh, look at that. Handwritten and signed on the disc. Is that cool or what? That is the personal touch. This is what DIY music is all about. Love this kind of stuff. Love these cassettes. Love them. Real music made by real people. Thank you, Sophia, and thank you, Tony. You know I'll be checking this stuff out. Now, let's see. This is a piece of business. We're not going to open that. But here's another one. Hey, look at this. Handwritten. Once again, Malcolm Tent, P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut, 06470. This is from TPOS recording artist Gary Forney. Gary threatened to send me something in the mail a long time ago before I left to go on tour. And in my typical fashion, I kind of forgot what it was. So let's find out. Let's grab the 100,000 mile box cutter and Put a little slit in ye envelope. Now, Gary is a man of many talents. He's got a band called Pumpkin. He appears in a really cool documentary film about the song poem industry called Off the Charts. That's how I first heard of him. I've actually played with the man. It was quite an experience. And I've released one album by him and his band Pumpkin on TPOS. You can find it on my Discogs store and on Bandcamp. And I will soon be releasing some of his solo material, at least 2 full-length albums worth of material from Gary Forney. So, very excited about that, and very excited about this. It is what it says, a comic and coloring book by Gary Forney. You got the front, and you got the back. Love this kind of stuff. I love printed material. I love printed media. And I love original creativity, such as Gary Forney has done with his comic and coloring book. If you guys want one of these, he is on Facebook. Just look up Gary Forney. That's his name. That's how it's spelled. Good guy. Happy to have worked with him. Proud to have him on my label. And I'll be reading this tonight as I eat my tuna fish sandwich. It's a vegan tuna fish sandwich. I got all these cans of vegan tuna fish in the markdown section of my supermarket. I'm a happy guy. Vegan tuna at a discount rate and something to read. Life is good. All right. What else have we got in the mail here? Well, here's a big old thing. This is from Murder Punk Records in Chicago, Illinois. And I already know what this is, and I already know this is going to be a pretty classy product. So we got the 100,000 mile box cutter here, which I'm wielding very carefully so as not to slice my chest open. We don't want to do that. I'm not Darby Allin or whatever that guy's name is, the professional wrestler, GG Crash. I'm not Richie from the Manic Street Preachers. I do not believe in bloodshed, unless it's the audience's ears bleeding when I'm playing my music live on stage. In that case, I'm all for it. But I personally, I'm not into exsanguination, not auto-exsanguination especially. So we open up the very carefully packed box, and sure enough, not 1, not 2, but 3 generously provided copies of a square 8-inch record featuring tracks from the G.G. Allin and the Suicide Sessions full length, which I provided the audio for him to release this, and he made, through our friends at Precarian Cuts, a dynamite looking square picture disc. Only 28 made. And I don't know, it's Jay Gray at Murder Punk Records. Jay Gray is on Facebook. You might, if you want to get one of these, you should write to him. I don't know if he's got any copies left, but he always puts out a quality product. Lots of really cool hand-lathed records and DIY products such as that. And, yeah, great stuff. So thank you, Jay. Thank you very much. I'll be listening to these also ASAP. Always a pleasure to work with Murder Punk. And if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly, there's going to be more collaboration between me and Jay Gray at Murder Punk Records. Yay! All right. We got another box here. This is the last box that arrived in the mail. And it's a big, thick one. You can see by the size and the shape of it, you can probably guess what's in there. We can probably guess 12-inch vinyl, right? Right? Am I right or am I right? Have you guys ever known me to be wrong? Don't answer that. I don't want to know the answer to that one. I don't want to hear it. Let's just redact that question. Let's just forget I ever asked it. I'm not good at rhetoric anyway. We're going to open this box very carefully. Notice that now I'm pointing the blade away from me. And not towards Harry, who is still peacefully asleep on my lap. It's amazing what this guy can sleep through. He listens to me yammering and yapping every week on Tent Talks Tunes. He hears me playing my Grand Funk records at top volume so the windows are rattling. The only time he ever really runs out of the room, the only noise that he cannot stand is when I break out my guitar. to practice or write something. The minute the guitar comes out, it doesn't matter if it's the acoustic guitar, the electric guitar, or the bass guitar, the minute he sees me with a guitar in my hand, he is out. Out like stout. He will run out the window, he will run out the room, jump out the window. He will do anything in his power not to be anywhere near me when I'm playing a guitar. Harry, you're such a critic. He's just sleeping peacefully. He doesn't care what I say to him. Can you guys hear that purr? Can you hear him snoring away like that? John Murray, who plays the drums, says, start playing the drums. Oh boy, you'll get rid of a cat even faster that way. Lord knows. Anyway, this big old 12 by 12 box is from my boss at Antiseen, Jeff Clayton. Well, I warned you guys, I warned everybody that there were a few things from him in this week's mail delivery. And here they are. Well, first, a small object. These are available from him. This is one of those things, if you know, you know. This is a genuine patch by the Cosmic Commander of Wrestling, the great Cosmic Commander of Wrestling. If you don't know who the Cosmic Commander of Wrestling was, I think you should make it your business to find out. I will simply put it this way. One of my favorite run-ins with the Cosmic Commander of Wrestling involved him tearing out a big chunk of my hair when I still had really long hair and throwing it at me. It was fantastic. It was an honor. And yeah, we got patches now. Available from Jeff Clayton, probably directly and or through the antiseen.com website. You know I'll be putting this somewhere. Maybe stapling it to my skin. I think that the Cosmic Commander would like that. But you've heard a lot of talk about it. You've heard a lot of hoopla and to-do, but here they are. These were presented to me in person when I was in Charlotte for the rehearsals. Since I was flying back from Charlotte to Cleveland, and I'll get to that story in a minute, you might wonder, why on earth would anybody fly from Charlotte to Cleveland? Why would anybody drive from Danbury to Cleveland? Why do people do these things? Why? We'll get there in a minute. Since I was flying from Charlotte to Cleveland, I couldn't pack a lot of stuff with me, so Mr. Jeff Clayton kindly mailed me my band copies of the brand new full-length LP by Antiseen. You've heard about it, now you're seeing it. Great Disasters. There's the front, there's the back. And look at this. Gatefold sleeve, guys. In the classic tradition of Terry Knight's graphic design, a gigantic, bigger-than-life black and white photo of the band on the inside sleeve. The inner sleeve is printed. Look at that. The Ultra lineup in full swing live, featuring me on the bass. Awesome piece of fan art. This is one of 3 variations. We've got classic black vinyl on the TKO record label. We've got one color scheme on the front and one color scheme on the back. Then we also have the deluxe versions. Chris Martin says that he got his copy of Great Disasters today too. Chris, you're a man with excellent taste. Very good taste. So here are the other 2 variants. We'll go for the first one first. The Radiation Sunburst pressing of only 200. Only 200 of these were made. Note that this is sealed. Still sealed. It's got the hype sticker on the front. Lord knows, as an obsessive record collector, I should leave it sealed. But you know what? Really, ultimately in my book, these things are made to be played. They're made to be listened to. They're made to be enjoyed. So I'm going to crack this sucker as well using the 100,000 mile scissors box cutter. Usually I would do the super cool thing and simply generate friction on my denim, but we have Harry the Cat parked on the friction zone, so I can't do that. So I have to very carefully open it with the 100,000 mile box cutter. Let's take a look at what the Radiation Sunburst pressing looks like. This is live unveiling, guys. This is how we roll. I should mention that the regular black vinyl copy I got, besides having the printed inner sleeve, also has a very classy Antiseen bumper sticker. We love the gimmicks. So now here it is, the Radiation Sunburst. And I think there's something in this one. You got a different variation. You got the Mothman sticker. Because the theme of the Great Disasters album is the Mothman. And once again, if you don't know about the Mothman, do your research. It's a harrowing tale about the Mothman. Side 2, track 1 is an epic composition about the Mothman. So the Mothman is the theme of the Antiseen Great Disasters album. There's a Mothman sticker, you got your Mothman song, and you've got 200 copies pressed on Radiation Sunburst vinyl. My brothers and sisters, look at that. Who says that only a disco single from the 70s can look that good? The brand new Antiseen 9-song LP can look as good as a disco single from the 70s. You see it, now you know it. I am so happy with this album, the way it came out. Not just the package, but the songs. 9 songs, in my opinion, all of them kill. The fact that I helped co-write some of them and play the bass on all of them is merely filling in the Twinkie. Merely filling in the Twinkie. If I was a fan of this band and I listened to this album, I'd be marking out. In fact, I was marking out from the minute I got the test pressing and put it on for the first time. I was like, wow, this is really good. I was just enjoying it as a fan of the band. I've got our third variation, of which only 100 were made, and this is the Mothman Larval Goo Green Vinyl. So Harry has flown the coop. He's gone. He's traipsed off. So I'm going to do it the way the cool kids do. We're going to generate some friction on the denim. Crack this thing open. Let's take a look at what the Mothman Larval Goo Vinyl looks like. Once again, you got the very classy and classic inner sleeve. What kind of bonus goodie is in this one? Okay, this one's got the Mothman sticker as well. So black vinyl. I don't know if they all do, but apparently black vinyl's got the bumper sticker and the colored vinyl have the Mothman sticker. We will drop that back in. So we have 100 copies pressed on... Ooh, look at that. Oh man, that is definitely larval and gooey. Our friends at TKO Records know how to press some wacky colored vinyl. And that's it, kids. It is out now. Very exciting. As usual, like I said before, go to Antiseen.com, the big cartel store there. If you want to hear what many, and I'm not even, I don't write the news, I just report it. I've had a number of people actually reach out and contact me and tell me that was the sound of an 8-track tape being ejected from a 8-track tape player, just so you know. I'm a busy guy. I'm always multitasking. I now know that 8-track tape will play all the way through. So when I record the King Gizzard Around the World in an Infinite Loop album on it, which is an 8-track exclusive release on TPOS, I can be reasonably sure that it will not jam up in the recorder and that it will play back successfully. Yay, 8 tracks. Woo! What was I yapping about? Oh yeah, how people actually reached out and contacted me to tell me that in their opinion this is the best Antiseen album ever. Like I said, I don't write the news, I just report it. And I humbly and gratefully accept that, because that is a real honor. A band that's got a long, deep history like Antiseen, and a deep, deep back catalog like Antiseen, and some really rabid fans who know the catalog. Like, basically, we have a lot of people who know all the albums, all the singles, and are still with us after all these years, and have people reach out and say that they think this is the best thing we've ever done. That's pretty damn cool. That's very touching, and I really sincerely thank everybody who said that, because especially knowing that I helped play a part in the creation of it, that is really, really awesome. So thank you, everybody who did reach out and take the time and make the effort to say that, because it means a lot to yours truly. It melts my mummified, deep frozen punk rock heart to hear you guys say that. And I'm just very happy that it's gone over as well as it has. And all I can say is that as we get into like a touring schedule with Antiseen next year, you will be hearing, so the plan goes, you'll be hearing quite a bit of these played live on a concert stage, at least somewhat near you. So yes. And for all of those of you out there, for those of you out there who do like vinyl, but maybe don't want to pay for vinyl, or maybe you don't have a record player, don't worry, we got you covered. Courtesy of our good friends Jackhammer Music, which is a Japanese label with U.S. operations based in Mobile, Alabama, there is a CD version of Great Disasters. Check it out. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's got an obi strip on it. Genuine Japanese obi. Factory sealed. And it's got one bonus cut. It's got the single that we did about a year ago of Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way by Waylon Jennings. That is the bonus cut on the CD. So why don't we crack it open, eh? It's not as easy to do this with the CDs as it is the LPs. I'm a guy who's been known to attempt the impossible. And I kind of got it there. Crack this sucker open. Removing the shrink. Whoop, and the obi fell off. There it is, the authentic Japanese obi. And there's the CD itself. Front, back. Ooh, look at that. Triple panel. With the CD and the inner photo. And the inner sleeve tray art. So there it is, guys. Available from our good friends Jackhammer Music, based in Japan, with a fully functioning mail order in the US of A. Look it up. Talk to my main man, Dennis Highland. He's the Jackhammer Music guy in the USA. He will hook you up, no doubt. There's also a European release. I don't have all the details on that. I believe that there's a separate label taking care of European distribution for Great Disasters. So basically, if you're somewhere in the world, you should be able to get this with local delivery. You should not have to be paying exorbitant, ungodly international shipping fees to get Great Disasters on CD. Not sure about the vinyl, how that works, but the CD, from what I understand, has European, Far Eastern, and North American distributions. So we got you covered. We're like Sherwin-Williams, man. Antiseen covers the earth. And just a side note to my friend Nick in Pennsylvania, Nick said, do you still have this? 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 The answer, Nick, is yes, I do. And I will be sending you some facts and figures about how you can acquire all of these very soon. So, stay tuned. So gosh darn, it took me almost 47 minutes to cover just the bulletin board and the mailbox. Woo, that's what happens when you leave town for a month. I've still got so many stories to tell about the tour. Well, you know what? Let me put it to you, the people, my frantic fans and vivacious viewers. Have I talked long enough? Should I wrap it up right now after 47 minutes and devote a separate episode of Tent Talks Tunes to the Profanatica tour and the stories about the tour? Or should I just keep going? I'll leave it up to you guys. I'll be looking, squinting to see what the people want. Want me to shut up or keep going? Callie Hellstrom has written in saying that, yeah, that Great Disasters is the best Antiseen album since the 90s, and Amy Lynn Myers says that Payday is her new favorite Antiseen song. You know, Payday is a song about the movie Payday, featuring Rip Torn. And It's a movie I never saw before, because I'm really not much of a moviegoer. The only way to get me to watch a movie is to, like, grab me by the ears and sit me down and, you know, point me at the screen and I'll do it. But because this song Payday was about the movie Payday, our drummer, Sir Barry Hannibal, who also produced the album and did a damn good job of it, he said, you got to watch this movie. So he grabbed me by the ears, sat me down, pointed me at the screen, and we watched Payday, starring Rip Torn. Damn good movie. Real good movie. Long story short, it's about a country western singer in the 70s. I'm just going to leave it at that. Great movie, almost classifies as film noir, as far as I'm concerned. Really, really good. And it made me appreciate the song even more. So thank you, Amy, for that. So let's see. What do the votes tally up? Let's see. We have keep on, keep going, keep going, keep going. Break it up. All right. Keep going. Boy, you people just love to hear me talk, don't you? Gee whiz. Keep going, keep going. All right. Guess I'm going to keep going. I might as well. Why not? Why not? I'm on a roll, baby. So, all right. Why was I gone for a month? Why? Why was there no Tent Talks Tunes for a calendar month? I'll tell you why. Because I was on tour, not with Antiseen, but Profanatica. Now, just so you guys know what's going on, Antiseen is my main band. Antiseen is my #1 band. That is the band I'm a full-time member of. That is the band who I have the most active participation in. But Antiseen's not active 12 months out of the year. And so if the opportunity presents itself and there's no conflict with Antiseen's schedule, I will, you know, it depends on what the circumstances call for. I can play a solo acoustic tour. I can book some shows with Ultra Bunny. And what's been going on for the last year and a half is I've been working with Profanatica. Now, Profanatica are arguably America's first ever black metal band. First ever black metal band. There's, you know, a little bit of fuzziness about who actually really was first, but as far as I'm concerned, and as far as my knowledge goes, Profanatica were the first. I'll testify to that in a court of law, you know, to my limited abilities, that in my opinion, Profanatica were the first ever U.S. black metal band. And they're from Brewster, New York, which is the next town over from Danbury. So, you know, musical movements are born in the least likely places. If you've ever been to Brewster, you know what I'm talking about. The only thing Brewster is known for is a laundromat that smells really bad and a train station. That's about it. I did my laundry at that laundromat once and said never again, because that laundromat smelled like dog doo. And I'm not exaggerating, guys. You don't want to do your laundry in a laundromat that smells like dog doo. Maybe they've cleaned it up since then. I don't know. This was a long time ago, but the impression lingers. Anyway, so that's the milieu that America's arguably first ever black metal band was born in. A town that has basically nothing but a train station and a smelly laundromat. And as you all know, I had my record store for 21 years in Danbury, and the various guys in Profanatica from, you know, very young age would come in and shop at the store and hang out and bug me about stuff like Celtic Frost and Hellhammer and Bathory and Poison Idea and Antiseen and, you know, punk rock in general. And basically I was always just kind of, you know, there, either behind the counter or playing shows with the bass guitar when I was still in a band called the Bunny Brains. So we had this kind of soup going on in the greater Danbury scene where everybody sort of knew each other and knew what each other's capabilities were and, you know, what talent could be drawn upon at a given moment to record or play a gig or whatever. So, long story longer, I did a very brief stint with Profanatica back in 2002. We recorded a 7-inch single called Fuck the Messiah and played a single show in New Jersey that went over great. And then after that, Profanatica went into hibernation for a number of years and then was reactivated in 2016 and got very active again. Did a lot of recording, a lot of touring, and went through some personnel changes. And about a year and a half ago, I got the call from Paul Ledney of Profanatica to ask if I would play bass and help write a couple of new records. I said, sure. You know, with the caveat from the very beginning that I was only on loan from Antiseen. Fair enough. As long as the schedules don't conflict, I'm going to do whatever I want. So it worked out to where I helped write a 7-inch single called Pale Fuck, which I believe is out of print already. I'm not sure. And to a lesser extent, participated in the writing and recording of the new album, which is called Crooks Simplex, and will be out on the Season of Mist label in Europe. And I'm not exactly sure what the American released details are, but there's got to be some kind of U.S. distribution for sure. Season of Mist is a pretty big metal label, and our U.S. label, Hell's Headbangers, is also a pretty big metal label. So there's a lot going on with Profanatica based around these two new albums. And in order to help push the product, full-length American tour, which began in Cleveland, Ohio on July 16th. Got the date right? July 13th. And ended in Raleigh, North Carolina on August 6th. So 3 solid weeks of traipsing about the US of A with Profanatica and excuse me, and our tour mates from Canada, Panzerfaust. Panzerfaust is a band I knew nothing about prior to meeting them, and I'd never heard them prior to seeing them the first night in Cleveland. I'm going to say Panzerfaust are awesome. They are so good. They do a very Middle Eastern influenced brand of black metal. They refer to themselves as black metal fundamentalists. I don't really know if I would call it black metal because it's really unique and different. To me, their sound, the sound of Panzerfaust, is kind of like Killing Joke times 3. It's the same principle. Middle Eastern guitar scales, heavy-hitting tribal drumming, really intense vocals, and bass lines that underpin everything. It's like if you dig Killing Joke and you want to hear Killing Joke done to like the nth degree, check out Panzerfaust. Great band and solid dudes. It was a pleasure sharing the bus with them for 3 weeks. Definite pleasure. And if all goes well and Profanatica does play in Toronto in November, I'm looking forward to seeing the guys up there in the audience. So that should be pretty cool. So yeah, it's a genuine tour. It's a real tour. We've got a professional driver. We got a tour manager. We got a bus. We got a trailer. The bus is designed for touring bands. You know, it's not one of those giant Greyhound-sized tour buses, but it's like smaller than that, but bigger than an Econoline van. You can dig what I'm saying if you know the size of a Ford Econoline van and one of those Greyhound rock and roll buses, kind of in between the two of them. We were able to fit the 7 members of the bands and the tour manager comfortably in this tour bus. Everybody had a bunk. There was a shower. There was a bathroom, a refrigerator, a microwave oven, plenty of cabinet space. It was a really good way to travel, you know, a really luxurious way to travel. I had my own bunk. I was able to put all my vegan snacks in the fridge. We would stop periodically to go grocery shopping and stock everything up. It was really, really neat. Like, I've been touring for a whole bunch of years, but I've never actually been on a bus before. So I really enjoyed that. I see some comments coming in here. Let's see. Bruiser Braswell says, "What up, bus?" I'm telling you right now. And Brian Swirsky says that he will be there hawking his wares. I'm assuming Brian, my good pal, is talking about the Danbury Record and CD Expo. We will see you there, Brian. Anyway, so we're in a bus. So here's the entire wacky itinerary of the Profanatica tour, okay? First gig is August 13th in Cleveland. August 12th, I gather up the guys in Profanatica and stick them in my minivan, my Dodge minivan, and we hit the road and drive to Cleveland. Straight shot to Cleveland. Of course, playing Devo on the CD player the minute we cross into Ohio, because that's what you got to do when you're Ohio. You got to listen to Devo. Ohio is sacred territory. It's the home of Devo. It's the only music that is appropriate to listen to when you cross the state line out of Pennsylvania. Gotta do it. So we're in Ohio. We're playing Devo. We visited my favorite truck stop in Clearfield, Pennsylvania, and had some good, honest truck stop food, which for me at a truck stop is usually a baked potato and coleslaw. Love it. Can subsist on that for a few hours. No problem. Drive to Cleveland, stay the night, and the next day go to pick up the tour bus and meet the tour manager and meet the driver. So we do it. I'm like, wow, look at this bus. It's got the bunks. It's got the microwave oven. I love it. You know, settle in and get ready to go. We play our first couple of shows in Cleveland and then in Columbus. I want to make sure I got the itinerary right here. And then after that, Chicago. And I am loving this bus because it's air-conditioned luxury. The bunks, all the bunks have curtains that you can pull so you can have total privacy. And inside the bunk is a fan and a light. And it's just really, really cool in there. It's like me, the punk rock guy, in a bunk on a tour bus touring the nation. Dude, what's not to love? So first three shows go pretty well, and we're driving out of Chicago because the general schedule was play the show, drive for however long is required to drive during the night, while the band sleeps and the driver drives, land somewhere during the day, the driver gets some sleep, the band hangs out, then we go to the venue, play the show, and repeat the cycle every day as needed, according to the length of time we have to travel. So we were going to do some night driving between Chicago and Minneapolis, okay? So I don't have a map with me, I don't have MapQuest with me, so I'm not really too sharp on the exact travel times between these venues as I tell you the story. I'm sure somebody out there could look it up right now to see what the travel time between Chicago and Minneapolis is. It was long enough to require some overnight driving. So we played the show in Chicago. It was a great show. I will say that one thing that was absolutely consistent with the gigs, excellent turnouts every night. You know, I didn't know what to expect. But from the first night until the very last, we had really good turnouts. We had over 300 people come out to see us in L.A., and we had a similar number in Indianapolis at the Heavy Hell Festival. We drew over 100 people in Omaha, Nebraska on a Monday night. We drew over 100 people in Raleigh, North Carolina on a Sunday night. I mean, it was pretty cool, you know? Really cool, because I've certainly played my fair share of shows to 1 or 2 people. I've played to 3 or 4 people. To play to 300 people, I got to admit, it's a lot less work and a lot more fun than playing to 3 people. I mean, if I'm playing to 3 people, I'll give it everything I got. I don't hold back. I never half brick. I never slack. I figure if 3 people took the time and trouble to come see Little Old Me or Ultra Bunny or whatever, I'm going to pour my guts out for them. That's what the job of an entertainer is, you know. But it's a lot easier to do it when you've got 300 people instead of 3. I'm just saying. That's where the law of averages works in favor of the performer. There's a lot of energy coming at you when you've got that many people. It's a very real thing, the energy that comes from a crowd when you're playing, and that's what we thrive on. You know, it's very difficult to get up on a stage and play and give it all you got when there's nothing coming back from the crowd. Any performer will tell you that. So to be able to get that kind of energy almost every night was very satisfying. It was very satisfying. A toast of Danbury Tap to the Profanatica audiences. Thank you, guys. And it's a very similar situation with Antiseen. You know, Antiseen is basically Jeff Clayton. It's his vision, it's his flagship, and the people who he gathers around him to bring it to fruition. Just as Profanatica is Paul Ledney's vision, and he is the captain of the ship, and he gathers who he needs in order to get his vision actualized. So in both bands, I spend all of my time on stage left playing the bass with an entire audience full of people looking to my right, either at Jeff Clayton or at Paul Ledney, because that's where they are, and they're the focus of everything. That's fine. The energy is still there, and it's still people digging it, you know? And it also makes it a little bit easier for me, because if I know that everybody's looking at the guy to my right, then I don't have to, you know, pose as hard. You know what? You know, it's kind of hard to describe. Knowing that it's not a case where all eyes are on me allows me to relax a little bit and just focus on the music. And that's pretty cool. So we were getting this positive energy and good turnouts just about every single night. And so night number 3 in Chicago, no different. Played a great gig. We're all in the bus. The air conditioner's on. You know, I'd put some of my vegan chicken nuggets in the microwave, and I'm chowing down. You know, watching TV in the front, and we're getting ready to hunker down and take an all-night drive towards Minneapolis. So I'm in my bunk, just starting to fall asleep, when I hear this like clang, clang, bang. It sounded like somebody ran over a garbage can in the road, like a metal garbage can. I heard this clanging and banging. I'm like, what was that? And I felt the bus stop, and I heard people get out, and I heard voices, and this kind of scraping sound, and didn't last too long. Some more bumping and clunking, and then everybody got back in the bus and drove away, and I went back to sleep. Woke up the next morning. We were stopped somewhere, and I said, hey guys, what's up? And they said, oh, the air conditioner's broken. I said, oh, too bad. I hope we get it fixed sometime soon. And nobody said anything, and I didn't really think too much of it, because the weather was nice. You know, weather was very nice in the upper northwestern tier of the country. Very nice weather, very temperate. It wasn't until we loaded in to the gig in Minneapolis that night that the trailer was opened, and I saw back there amongst all of our gear the ruins of the air conditioner. Turns out that the air conditioning unit was mounted on top of the bus, and the driver went under a low bridge exiting Chicago and knocked the whole thing off and destroyed it. That's a bit of a problem. That's something that's going to be very hard to fix. And I'm not going to get into all the gory details, but I will just say that it didn't get fixed. It was destroyed beyond repair. Whatever. It's nice weather. It's okay. We're only 3 days into this thing, and there's the possibility, you know, the possibility that it'll get fixed somewhere down the line. I'm sure it'll get fixed. So, you know, we play Minneapolis, and it's really cool. And where do we go from Minneapolis? From Minneapolis, Omaha, Nebraska. The aforementioned gig on a Monday where we drew like over 100 people. Really awesome. Denver, Colorado. Okay, we apparently lost the internet. And now the internet is back on. So, okay. I lost some of the story. Can anybody care to make a comment and tell me at what point in the story the internet stream died? I'm going to click refresh here so I can see you guys' comments. We're going to try to get going back live here again. Please pardon the technological deficiencies in tonight's stream. Chris Martin says I was talking about Nebraska. Okay, Nebraska. So yeah, we're traveling through the Badlands. And I've never been in this part of the country before. I'd never been to the Pacific Northwest. I'd never really been anywhere west of Chicago, except for one cross-country train trip and one very quick hit-and-run cross-country driving trip. I never really spent any time out there and not in the Pacific Northwest. So I didn't realize that the desert actually extends pretty much all the way to Canada. And there are parts of like Wyoming and Montana and the Dakotas that look just like and feel just like Arizona and Southern California and Texas. It's hot, dry desert. So we had a day's trip through the extreme northern part of the desert where it's very hot and very dry. It was 102 degrees outside and at least 100 degrees inside the van. But we made it through. It was okay. You know, it wasn't comfortable by any means, but we made it. We survived it. And I know I was thinking that, all right, we did that. Whatever Mother Nature throws us in Southern California and Arizona and Texas, it can't be that bad. We just experienced our 100-degree weather and we got through it. So, right, no problem. So there we are. You know, we had our experience with the desert, and then we're going, you know, Seattle, Portland, Sacramento, San Francisco. By the time we got down to San Diego, it was definitely hot again. And all it did was stay hot. All it did was stay hot for the next. And I try to, I'm reading off the tour itinerary because I don't want to exaggerate. I want to get the details right. It stayed basically hot from July 25th until August 3rd. Yes. How many days is that? 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th. 31st, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Okay, there you go. 10 solid days of relentless, remorseless, merciless heat. Now, the tour bus was great. It was designed to work perfectly and be extremely comfortable with a functioning air conditioning unit. Without a functioning air conditioning unit, you can open up all the windows you want, but the air does not circulate through the body of the vehicle because there's no ventilation in the back. You can't open up windows in the back and get air blowing through. The air only circulates in the front part of the bus where the kitchen and the living room are. The bunks in the back are like still, dead air. And when you're traveling through 100-degree heat and that sun is beating down on you, you are, no exaggeration, you are traveling in an oven. You are in a convection oven. And if you wonder what that's like, all you have to do, and I do not advise that you actually do this, but just imagine, okay? Imagine having an oven that's turned on, even to the lowest setting. Opening up that oven and putting your hand in there and feeling that hot air. And knowing that every object that you touch inside the oven is going to be hot. The walls, the surfaces. If you have an object inside there, it's going to be hot. That's what it was like in the tour bus. There was no coolness anywhere. Nothing was cool to the touch. It was hot to the touch. If I put my hand on my bunk, it was hot. The pillow was hot. The wall was hot. Everything was just hot. We all invested in fans. We got little personal fans to put in our bunks because there's electrical outlets in each one. You turn on the fan and it blows hot air on you. There was just literally no relief from the heat. And I got to tell you, brothers and sisters, friends and relatives, if you've never been in the Arizona desert in July, when it's 115 degrees outside during the day and 105 outside during the night, you have not experienced heat. I don't even have words for it. It was indescribable. The sheer, relentless heat. And the only way to get out of it was to go into the venue where they had air conditioning and all the comforts, which we, of course, tried to do as much as we possibly could. We tried to get to the venues as early as we could and stay as late as we could. But there was always that moment when they said, okay, guys, you got to go. And we went back out to the heat where it was hot outside and it was hot in the bus. And it didn't matter if you opened up all the windows because it was nothing but hot, hot air. Oh, boy. Let's see here. Mark Deal wants to know, holy shit, how did you guys sleep? The answer is we basically didn't. I know I didn't. Just to make the story a little bit even more miserable was I caught a bug somewhere, like I think in El Paso. I got kind of sick. And it was just normally a mild bug, which with enough sleep and enough rest could just leave my system, but I couldn't sleep. It was so hot, I could not sleep. And I'll admit I cracked up a little bit after a day or two of this. I was like, if we don't get a hotel room with some AC tonight, you're going to kill me. And if you want to kill the bass player, that's fine, but it means I won't be able to play the show tomorrow night. So just think about that. Just think about that. And nobody could really deny the logic behind that. And I think everybody else was quite happy to have an excuse to get into the air conditioning. So we actually got hotel rooms. Not once, but twice. Just because you had to, you just had to. It was nuts is what it was. Brian Russell says, welcome back, Satanist. I refute that. I am not a Satanist. I scoff at Satan. I mock and disrespect Satan. He's part of the same Judeo-Christian mythological construct that I do not believe in the slightest bit. So, wrong, not a Satanist. I don't do that. Although it was certainly hotter than hell during parts of this tour. So, and it was just one of those things, And the weather finally broke. Like once we got out of Texas and we were starting to head towards towards St. Louis. We got out of Dallas and we're heading towards St. Louis. And the weather did break a little bit. We were now back into the 90s rather than the 110s. So it still wasn't the most comfortable thing in the world, but my God, it does make a difference. It really does. Like before I experienced the Arizona heat in the 110s, I figured it's kind of academic. It's like, well, 90 is about the same as 100, and I'm sure 100 is about the same as 110. How hot can you possibly get? I'm here to say it right now, guys. There is a big difference between 90 and 100, and there's a bigger difference between 100 and 115. OMG. I know I just said I don't believe in that particular mythological construct, but I'll say it right now. Oh my God. It was hot. And I will tell you right now, I have to salute the people in Arizona. We played the gig in Scottsdale, Arizona when it was 115. And God bless them. See, there I did it again. I can't help it. It's part of the lexicon. God bless them. The fans started lining up, like an hour or so before door time. And they had on their leather and their battle jackets and their jeans and, their hats. And they stood out there in that baking hot heat, fully dressed in the regalia for, an hour waiting for the doors to open. And they were just hanging out and talking and chitting and chatting and having a good old time. And I was inside cowering in the air conditioning, I will say the people in Arizona are made of pretty stern stuff. I don't have my hat on, but I will take my glasses off and salute those of you. Also in Southern California and Texas for actually having the gumption to live in that mess. I don't know how you do it. Makes me thirsty just thinking about it. Let's see, gotta take a squint there. Brian Russell, just a little social commentary on the misconceptions of black metal. I'll accept that, Brian Russell, I'll accept that. But I'm glad I got a chance to state my position, because I love to state my position. There are a few people who said to me along the line, hail Satan, and it's like, no, we don't hail Satan. We don't do that. Uninteresting. Let someone else, let Deicide do that, or somebody, I don't know. I don't effing know. Anyway, quite the experience. And then we finally get out of that, and we're in St. Louis, and the temperature's breaking, and it's in the 90s. And all of a sudden, I've got this yardstick I can use. Like, I know now what abject misery is when it comes to heat. Abject misery is 115 degrees in Arizona and Texas. Anything less than that is uncomfortable. Like, I was mowing my lawn today using my manual power push reel mower. Doesn't have an engine. It's strictly vegan powered. And my lawn hadn't been mowed since I left. You know, it's like I've got good neighbors who looked after the house and looked after Harry the cat, but I neglected to ask anybody to mow the lawn for me. So I'm mowing this jungle with my push reel mower, and it's in the 80s. And I was like, you know what? This ain't so bad. I survived Arizona in a rolling oven. I'll just finish mowing the lawn right now, I think. I will not stop until I got it done. And I got it done, and it was cool. I have a yardstick now. That's one thing that I gained from this tour, is I know what hot is, baby. I know what hot is. Whew. More thirst. More Danbury tap required. Thank you very much. So let's see. We got out of the blazing hot heat. And basically the last little run from St. Louis until Raleigh was pretty good. It was temperate. We were actually able to leave the windows open and turn on the fans and get cooler air circulating. And we're able to do basic stuff like sleep and open up the refrigerator and have cold stuff in there instead of hot stuff. And to open up the freezer and have frozen stuff and not melted stuff. You don't even know, brothers and sisters. You don't even know what it was like. But we survived it. We survived it, and we got the job done. We, Profanatica, and our tour mates Panzerfaust, we did it. And I will simply reiterate, the crowds were great. And I saw a lot of you people out there, and I'm really happy and grateful to have met some of you guys in person for the first time. It was super awesome seeing old friends, some for the first time in decades. And I was posting on my Facebook page about a lot of these meetings, and I'm not going to try to mention everybody because I know I'll forget somebody, but you know who you are. I met some Tent Talks Tunes people, old Broken Talent people, Antiseen fans. It was just a really great mixed bag of really good people who I ran into on the road. Basically, all the gigs were killer. Getting to watch Panzerfaust every night was a treat. I've waxed rhapsodic on how good they were, and I really recommend that you check them out because they've got a really unique original thing going. We played with many, many really cool local bands all over the country. Once again, too many to list. When I get my website going and updated finally, it's going to have a comprehensive list of all the shows and all the bands that we played with. So if you're curious about that kind of thing, you'll be able to go on to malcolmtent.net and actually read the hard data and the stats and everything. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what else to say except that it was a great tour and a hell of an experience. And we're going to be doing it again in November. There's an East Coast run scheduled for November 1st to the 18th. So basically, on this last tour, we started in Cleveland, worked our way around the entire country, and ended up in North Carolina. We didn't do really anything in the Northeast or a whole lot on the East Coast. So in November, we're going to remedy that. We're going to fill in all those blanks the first 3 weeks of November. So that's going to be pretty exciting, and you'll be hearing all about it. Just keep an eye on this social media, and ye shall find out. And new Profanatica record coming out on Season of Mist sometime soon. Don't know exactly when, but I'm sure I'll be hearing about it. And that basically wraps everything up. I think I've done talking tunes, unless I missed any details and anybody wants to ask a question. Let's see. Mark Deal says he's been staining his fence in 100+ degree weather all week. Mark, I feel your pain. Believe me, I feel your pain. Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird when you're on the road for 3 weeks like that, and it's just chock full of stories and people it all kind of tends to blur after a while. So, I don't know. If everybody thinks I've told the story well and I don't need to go on any longer, then I guess I'll just call it quits for this week's episode of Tent Talks Tunes. And I want to thank everybody, as always, for tuning in. It's great to be back. It's always good to hit the road, and it's always good to come home and see you guys out there and interact with you on the internet, on the Facebook and the YouTube and wherever else we can be found. And I definitely look forward to seeing everybody out there in the so-called real world in November. And also, I should mention we've got one Antiseen date scheduled for December. The Milestone Club's 54th anniversary show is happening in December, and we are playing it. Further details, TBA. And Harry has wandered in again. Let's see if we can get Harry to say goodbye. Come on up here, guy. Come on up here, little fella. Or I should say big, burly, beefy dude. Can you guys see the heft on this guy? Do you see just how gigantic he is nowadays? This is one fat cat. My neighbors took very good care of him. They put some pounds on this sucker. What do you think about it, guy? I'm telling it like it is. He's so mellow, so relaxed, so floppy. All right. Chris Martin says that tonight was his first time tuning in. Won't be the last. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate that. Hope you were, I'm glad you were entertained, because that's my job, kids. So yeah, Lord willing and the creeks don't rise. I'll be back in about 167 hours. So until we meet again, this is Malcolm Tent saying so long from the Nutmeg State. And Harry says so long too. Show end title card.